Hey everyone, if you want to get a text message every time we put out a new episode of the Mindset Digital podcast, all you have to do is go to your phone and text the word MSD pod, that's all one word, MSD pod, to 555-888. And we'll shoot you a text every time we put out a new episode. Good times.
The Mindset Digital podcast.
Are they still the same? Like, have Lucky Charms changed at all?
Well, they've changed insofar as they, every few months, do, oh no, the marshmallows got mixed up.
Cool.
It's a little crazy.
Nice.
They're running a loose ship at the Lucky Charms factory. I can tell you that much.
Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
From the three-car pileup of social media, learning, and technology, it's the Mindset Digital podcast. Is there room in the market for a, quote, more civil version of Twitter? The creators of new open-source social network Mastadon certainly hope so, and in today's episode, we put it to the test. Plus, it's intern season here at Mindset Digital, and that means a new intern takes up the challenge of finding something on the internet guaranteed to make you laugh. Are you ready to go all in on Mastodon? Here's Mindset Digital's creative director, Pete Brown.
Thanks, Bria. And hello again, everybody. You know, at Mindset Digital, we spend a lot of time studying and engaging and practicing on the major social networks, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, and Instagram. But we're also always trying out new messaging apps and new networks as they come along. We had an agency-wide session on WeChat, which is huge in China. We've done some work on WhatsApp. So it's always kind of fun when there's a new network because somebody here will install it and then let the rest of us know, and we all install it and join each other's network so that we can try it out. We've done that with Beam. We've done it with Peach. We did it with Blab. Very briefly with App.net, Vervid, Elo, Host Party, Hype, Periscope, Meerkat, Vine. I mean, there's just no shortage of new social networks or new fun ways to communicate. As Atlas suggests, many of these social networks do not make it. They either become niche networks with a smaller following or they close down altogether. I always like it if I'm the first one on a new network because then I can walk around and ask the office millennials like, hey, are you on Peach yet? Oh man, you're so far behind. That's good times. Anyway, today we talk about a Twitter clone called Mastadon, which launched about 6 months ago with the idea that it would be sort of an ethical, non-hate-filled version of Twitter. And it has some interesting features to it that are designed to help them achieve that goal. We also have a review of Mastodon that we wrote up for the blog, and you can find a link to that in the show notes, or just go to mindsetdigital.com and select our blog. And hopefully today we have something on the internet guaranteed to make you laugh. Always one of my favorite segments to record. It is intern season here again at Mindset Digital, so we have new interns taking up the challenge of finding something on the internet that will make me laugh. All right, let's get to my discussion with Bria Vell and Danica Stahl about Mastadon. And just for the record, it is not Mastodon, the heavy metal band, but I did read somewhere that Mastodon was named for the heavy metal band. Good times.
Let's begin now.
Got bad news for you guys.
What?
Wiener's not coming.
Oh!
I thought for sure he told me that he knew about this stuff and he was going to look into it more, and he did not do any of that.
Okay.
So he's like a kid who did not do his homework.
Full of lies.
Okay, so I've got Bria Vell in the studio and Danica. That's Bria Vell Schultz, who you'll recognize from the up tops. Danica Stahl, formerly a fast-working intern, now manages our social media feeds, right?
Yep, that's right.
You've been on here enough that I should know what your job is by now.
It's okay. Sometimes I don't know.
Okay. Now, Bria, you wrote for our blog a review of Mastodon.
Correct.
So
yes.
tell me let's level set. What is Mastodon?
So Mastodon is an alternative to Twitter.
Okay.
And the big differences are it's open sourced.
Yeah.
It's decentralized.
Okay.
And then they have a focus on civilized discourse. So they're going to actively, for the most part, ban people who are just harassing other people.
Okay, so some developers said, we don't like what's going on Twitter, too many Nazis. We're going to create our own version of Twitter, call it Mastodon, which actually I read they named after the heavy metal band, which is awesome.
Okay, cool.
Decentralization. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Oh, darn it, but that's the confusing part.
Okay, well, how about I talk about it and you say, yes, that's right. So Mastodon lets you create your own instance, or basically a server of your own that your own people can be on. And then when you sign up, you can go and see all these different servers and you can hop on one. And if I'm not mistaken, Danica, correct me if I'm wrong, you see the people on that server, but you also see people on other servers.
That's right.
So it reminded me a little bit of how like Minecraft works. You know, how you can set up your own Minecraft world and then, or you can join other worlds.
Yeah, totally.
No?
Right, yeah,
do neither of you guys
sure.
play Minecraft?
No. I have like a 10-year-old cousin who plays.
Okay, well, that you'll have to just believe me. It's like how Minecraft works. So, Brea, you got on Mastodon. Now, first of all, let's just level set. You are not a huge user of Twitter.
Not at all.
And how come?
Well, okay, so the online harassment is a big deal.
Yeah.
So, because for me, the real reason why I would use Twitter is to promote my YouTube channel.
Right.
But if you're on Twitter and you're like, hey, I'm a female YouTuber, then it's like, you're just like a magnet for like crap.
Yeah.
Can I say that word?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. And so I'm just like, that's so, so I'm not into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get that. And I think we've talked about it before, like with Periscope and other things too, right?
Right. Yeah.
Just one of the perils of being a young woman on the internet anymore, apparently.
Yeah.
Okay, Danica, when did you get on Mastodon?
So as soon as I saw a Mashable article about it, I decided to try it. I'm not particularly fond of Twitter, though I'm there, so I thought it would be interesting.
Yeah, okay. And so what I was reading about Mastodon was for like their first 6 months, they had maybe 25,000 users. And then I think that article came out and its user base started to really increase. So I tried to look up today how many users they have. I couldn't find it.
I could not tell you how many they have, but just opening up the app I've been using, there's a lot more activity than when I first got it.
Okay. And that's worth noting too. Mastodon apps are all made by third-party developers, right?
Yep, that's right.
So Mastodon's not really a company. It's just an open source project that lives on the internet. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Brea, let's talk about your experience using Mastodon.
Sure. So, so one of the first, so I signed up for a bunch of different instances.
Okay.
Because I wasn't sure, like.
How did you pick them?
So they have very slightly descriptive names. So like they're very slightly. So I signed up for like Mastadon.fun.
Yeah.
And then Toot Cat, which is a place for cat lovers.
Okay, and we should probably explain that on Mastodon, when you post something, it's called a toot.
It's called a toot, right. Instead of a tweet, it's a toot.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah. So I signed up for a bunch of them.
Okay.
And the first thing I wanted to do, I was like, yay, I've always just wanted to be a YouTuber on a Twitter-like thing.
Yeah, sure.
So now let me just come out and let my YouTube flag fly.
Yeah.
And no one cared about that or was into that.
Yeah.
So it's just very obviously like not a place for self-promotion. Like you can use Twitter.
Right.
On Twitter, it's normal. On Mastodon, people are like, what?
Yeah,
what are you doing? Yeah.
Because on Twitter, you kind of expect that, even if you're just lurking and reading stuff.
Right. That people
check out my blog post.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's not how Mastodon is. It's just a conversation place.
Okay.
And for the most part, people are trying to avoid talking about politics because that's what's made Twitter so heated. So then it's like, okay, what do we talk about?
Yeah. What do you talk about? Cats, obviously, is one.
I had something to say about cats. So that was a good one for me. But other than that, they're talking about like internet jokes and like it feels like very inside internet stuff.
I gotcha.
Or at least it did when I joined in the slightly early wave.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Danica, now you tell me about what you signed up for and how you found it.
So I signed up for Octodon. I can't even pronounce it. Octodon.social. Picked it purely based on the name, and the person who made it was super popular.
Okay.
So that's how I decided. But it's kind of the same. It's a lot of memes, a lot of people like posting stuff that you would post on Twitter about like your personal life,
Right.
but without all the political garbage, which is nice because I don't post a lot of stuff on Twitter that maybe I would because I use it for work, so it's a different space. Plus, people interact with you a lot more, which is really different from Twitter. On Twitter, you get a ton of bots and stuff, and that's not really been a problem for me yet on Mastodon.
Yeah.
Yeah, this morning, for example, I posted, "Hey guys, guess what? I'm going to talk about you on a podcast. What do you want me to say?" And I got just a ton of pretty genuine responses. So,
you want to read a couple?
Yeah. Let's see. Tell everyone that we're attractive and intelligent and modest too.
Nice toot.
Yeah. This one just says toot. Here's another one that says, "Everyone stay away from Mastodon because something something." And they said, "That's how we can guarantee exponential network growth." I don't know if I'm allowed to read this one.
Well, you can read it and we'll take it out if you can't.
Okay. "Please say and record when you're hanging with the boob fam. Octagon life is love." I don't really know what that means. Yeah.
An indecipherable toot.
Yeah. Yeah. But then there was somebody else who like just was like trying to explain how Mastodon works, but it's kind of boring.
How can you summarize their take on it?
Yeah, they were basically just saying that the Federation line, which is like the overall sort of Twitter copy, is the hardest thing to understand.
Yeah.
Which I guess I can agree, because sometimes you forget what timeline you're on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have noticed. So I did go in and make an account. I have not tooted on Mastodon. And the UI is interesting. It's a lot like Hootsuite or one of these, right? Because there's three columns, right? TweetDeck is a good comparison. Federated is everything, and it's chronological, right? And I think the people who made Mastodon, one of the decisions they didn't like Twitter making was switching to an algorithmic feed instead of chronological. And then there's like separate columns for your other conversations. So it takes some getting used to, I found. A couple other differences. Your toots can be 500 characters.
Yep.
And have either of you seen benefit in that?
People have better grammar.
Okay.
Does that count as a benefit?
Sure.
People don't like try and shorten the stuff they have to say. So I think it gives you a lot more space to offer real insight instead of just like short little pithy jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was nice to not have to like count every single letter in every single word to write something. That was nice.
Well, if either of you were going to be regular Mastodon users, what would you do on there?
So for me, the great revelation I had when using Mastodon is I'm not a microblogger.
Right.
Like, this is just, like, when I have an idea, it never appears as a tweet or a toot. It appears as an Instagram post or a YouTube video. Like, I just don't think in these
tiny little
short
terms.
little blurbs. That's not how I have ideas. So that was interesting.
So I think if I used it, it'd pretty much just be like, so far how I've been using it is to like quote my family or talk about bodily functions. So I guess that's what I would do. Stuff that I wouldn't put on a feed associated with my personal brand, I guess.
So this is just some sort of anonymous dark side vehicle for expression for you.
Yeah, and maybe that means I'm using it wrong because it's like you're not supposed to like troll or be, I don't know, sassy with other people. It's
true. I mean, so, you know, my main audience is on Twitter. Mm-hmm. I curate a lot of content for them. That wouldn't have any place on Mastodon that I've seen, you know. But sometimes I have a thought and I think it's really funny, but I don't put it on Twitter because so many, you know, professional connections follow me that I just can't, right?
Yeah.
So, although I do want to add one thing that struck me as really interesting. So Mastodon is trying to be a safe space.
Yeah.
And in one of the instances I was in, someone posted okay, guys, no more animated GIFs.
Yeah.
Because they cause some people to have headaches.
Oh.
Or, in the most extreme instances, some people can get seizures from them.
Yeah.
But it was like, okay, some people are negatively affected by this, so no one can do it.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh my gosh, like this is that perfect.
This is why we can't have nice things.
No, well, not necessarily. I mean, yes, but I mean, it's like it's that. How do you respect the needs?
Yeah, of the few,
and
still meet the needs of the many.
And it was just like, it was just this perfect. I was like, but is that impeding on my free speech right to post animated GIFs? I don't know. Anyway, it just safe spaces are tricky.
Yeah,
they're very tricky. So yeah.
Well, I will say this. It reminded me when I went on it a lot of Elo, which is a social network that came out a few years ago. When it first came out, it looked a lot like Mastodon, but it was more of a Facebook take on a social network. But it was open source and there were no ads and all those things. It has since morphed into more of a visual sharing network because I went back to it this morning in preparation for this. And so I wonder if Mastodon will either devolve in the way that everything on the internet devolves or, continue to grow and become a thing.
I don't know that I could speak to that or even say what I could see happening. I think it's an interesting sort of mashup between Twitter and Reddit, I guess.
Yeah.
So it does bring something different to the table, but I don't know if it has lasting power.
How is it like Reddit?
So you can pick like your different subreddits and stuff, and it's more of like a forum.
Yeah, so like making an instance on Mastodon's kind of like creating a subreddit.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha. It's a good comparison. But there's no upvotes or anything like that.
No, there aren't. And that's another weird thing. Like, no matter how much a person like gets likes on their toots or or reshared, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
let's just say that calling their posts toots is the greatest innovation thus far that I've heard today.
Such a good idea.
Yeah. I want to giggle every time.
Okay. Yeah, and it sounds like, and now let's just step back and look at it professionally. As Mindset Digital, I'm not about to run out to our Fortune 500 clients and say, go all in on Mastodon. But we're all watching it as sort of an interesting social experiment to see what happens with it.
Yeah, and one of the nice things is you can get really popular really fast. I mean, I'm used to, it took me like 3 years to get 100 followers on Twitter, and in like 2 days of tooting, I got like 50.
Nice. So, wow. Well, we'll have to, Danica, we'll check in, because I get the sense, Brivo, you're not going to go back there.
I mean, I really do like Toot Cat.
Okay.
The one about cats. I really like it. So, yeah.
Okay.
So that might be a possibility. But I think the success of Mastodon will depend on if people make friends with each other. Because I think that the reason why other places is because if people are just coming and going constantly, then whatever. But if these instances really do become communities that people kind of outsource some of their friendship needs to, then that could...
I think that's a great point. And it reminds me of something I didn't really think about and I wasn't going to talk about, but I'm going to now.
All right, here we go.
Back in the
Let
day,
me sit down here.
When I was 13, I played a lot of RuneScape.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody remembers that.
No, what is that?
RuneScape? You don't know what RuneScape is?
So anyway,
when like World of Warcraft was really big and all those like MMOs of RuneScape came on the scene, and it was like kind of like a cheaper, really crappy graphics version.
Cool.
Is the best way to describe it. But they had these channels for like a clan, and you could join a clan, and a lot of the interaction I've had on Mastodon reminds me of that. It's just the way people interact with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you got, I don't want to say 500 characters, but you definitely had more characters to talk to people before the limit on those too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'll give it another shot if I can remember my password, because, and I did have that feeling looking at the various instances, like, like when you get new insurance and you're supposed to pick your doctor out of a book, and you're like, he sounds good. You have no idea what's happening. Yeah. So there's a lot of, trying it out that I think get to the right places there. So two things I'm going to leave you guys with. First of all, when I was a little boy, I had a children's book, and it came with a record. So the record was sort of a dramatized reading of it, and it was called Little Toot. It was about this tugboat. It was very small. His name was Little Toot. But one day there was a big storm in the harbor, and the big tugboats could not help the ship, and Little Toot went out and did it. And it was very. So I'm gonna encourage you guys to look that up.
Okay.
Secondly, we're here in Columbus, Ohio. We have a suburb called Johnstown, Ohio. Have you guys heard of this, Johnstown?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, in 1925, they found an intact mastodon skeleton.
What?
There. And I think it's in the Cleveland Museum of Natural History now. And it was very famously known as the Johnstown Mastodon. And that is why their high school is called the Johnstown
Toots.
No, their high school, their high school is called the Johnstown
Mastodons.
Actually, it's the Johnnies.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm so mad about it. I'm like, you guys missed the best. It could have been the Mastodons. It makes perfect sense. It would have been the best nickname ever.
It would have been.
But
a lot of mastodons in the news lately.
How so?
The people are collecting their horns and selling them since you can't kill elephants anymore. So,
and I think, and this is going to really take us off the rails in terms of having any integrity on the podcast. But I believe that there are efforts underway to try and regrow a mastodon from mastodon DNA.
Nice.
That would be awesome.
So I will check.
That'd be a good movie.
Try and find some links we can put in the show notes. Okay. Any final takeaways on Mastodon?
I think if you like Twitter, you should try Mastodon.
Yeah. I think it would be okay to try, but if you have a really big following on Twitter, I wouldn't leave that behind in popularity. Yeah. Am I right?
That's true.
Yeah, so it's a yes and situation. It's see ya, Twitter. Drop the mic. Taking me 8 years to get 900 followers. Okay, well, that's good. We'll put lots of links in the show notes for people. We're going to link to Briavel's review, and I appreciate both of you guys coming in and talking about Mastodon.
Hey, thanks.
Okay.
Was just a tug, just a happy harbor tug, and it came from a line of tugboats fine and brave. But it seems that little Toot simply didn't give a hoot.
Something on the internet that makes me laugh.
So you've been interning here, but in a different part of the company than I work in. So I know much less about you than I do most interns that come in here. So I'm going to tell you what I know about you, and then you can fill in some gaps, okay? I know that your name is Ashley.
True.
And I know that you're an intern.
True.
And I think, are you a Cincinnati Reds fan?
I am a Cincinnati Reds fan.
Okay, because I think I saw on Twitter you posting like the NL East standings.
I tweet about it as long as it stays.
Yeah.
It will be something I talk about.
Hopefully it will stay, but I'll tell you.
Also, it's double great because the Reds are first and the Cardinals are dead last.
Yeah.
So it's like a double whammy of awesomeness.
Yeah, a little thing of beauty there in those standings. Okay. So where do you go to school?
Ohio State.
Okay, and you're majoring in?
In journalism and multimedia production.
Okay, so did you come here through Spencer? Did he recommend you to us?
Actually, no. Danica posted something on Facebook, and I had been looking I have to do a little over 300 hours of internship credit to graduate with like my major and my minor.
Right.
And Danica posted it, and it sounded like a lot of fun, and I threw her my resume, and I was here within like a week. So
Nice. And what do you want to do after you graduate?
I want to be a multimedia producer of some kind. I currently work for The Lantern, which is Ohio State's newspaper.
Right.
And I spent the whole semester working on a long-form project for surrounding around the Ohio State-Michigan game. Mm-hmm. And I just loved that. I loved making something that sort of it encapsulated the actual game, but it also went beyond and like what it means to Columbus, because it's obviously a very big day for Columbus. But I'll let you know when I know.
And was it a cross media project, or was it video?
It was video, and we also worked with the Ohio State student sports radio team to help bring in them, which was a lot of fun because a lot of people don't want to listen to me talk for an hour, so like to have the plays during the game was really cool. But I look back at that and I'm like, I could do that for forever.
Yeah. When do you graduate?
I got one more year, so May of next year.
May of next year. Okay. And today's your last day interning with us.
Yes,
is that
it is.
right?
It is my last day.
And where are you going after this?
I'm still trying to figure out my summer plans, but next year I'm going to be the station manager of Lantern TV, which is the student-run television station at Ohio State in correlation with the paper.
Right.
So I'll be overseeing all the content, and I'm super excited. I'm really excited about it.
Very good. Okay. So I feel that's sufficient chit-chat. How about you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Good,
Very good. Okay. So let's see what you got and if it's funny. I'm going to just note that you are showing me on a phone, which is a first for this segment.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But
well, it's because it's a popular Twitter video, and Danica said you like animals.
okay. So
It's like short, so I have to like.
That is awesome. All right. So is this like a loop?
Yeah.
All right.
I think it was originally a Vine.
Yeah.
But R.I.P. Vine.
Yeah. All right. R.I.P. Vine. First of all, let me explain what we're looking at. Somebody has put a turtle. I think that's a turtle, not a tortoise.
Yeah, it's a turtle. I'm pretty sure.
In a sink, or that might even be in a shower. And they have water pouring down on his back, and he is basically dancing in response. So, and if this was originally a Vine, which would be 6 seconds, which would explain why it's looping, Vine did shut down as its own thing, and now it's actually inside of Twitter as its own camera app.
Oh, is it? I didn't know that.
Yeah, but the network itself is gone.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Vine.
Yeah, I know. I loved Vine too.
I loved Vine.
It was really, we did an episode on why Twitter shut it down, and we still couldn't figure it out. It only cost $10 million a year to run, but
It only cost $10 million.
Right. But so I think, well, their plan is really to try and move everything into the Twitter experience, right? Periscope, bring it into Twitter. Vine, bring it into Twitter, and that way they can have more users, I guess.
I guess.
So that was an excellent find.
Yes, I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I made you laugh.
Yeah, for sure, right? Because if you do ever listen to the podcast, and you certainly don't have to, the times we do this segment where I do not laugh are really painful.
Really?
Yeah, they're just very awkward and painful, and there's this long silence. So good on you. And I think the next intern I'm going to challenge, I'm going to say, bring me something funny that doesn't involve animals. Because
animals are just, they're automatically funny.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. And we're going to put a link to that in the show notes. And does it have a title, or is it just like Dancing Turtle in the Shower?
So like I put out on my Twitter to one of my friends who is king of the vines, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I was like, show me like something short and funny. And he sent this to me. So I think it's just hanging out on Twitter. Like I don't think it even has a name.
Okay. Well, see if you can find a link to it for me so we can put it in the show notes. It is, I just love it, right? It's 6 seconds. It's a great lift to your day,
Absolutely.
Okay, Ashley the intern. Well, I don't know if you were a good intern or not. I assume you were. Everybody seems to like you in your work. I didn't oversee any of it, so I can't really speak to it. But good luck with your plans.
Thank you.
That's going to be awesome. I think running a TV station is going to be awesome. And, keep in touch with us. Let us know what you're up to.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Ashley, the intern, thanks for taking the Something on the Internet to Make Me Laugh challenge.
Thank you.
Good times.
Is that all you got?
The Mindset Digital podcast is brought to you by Mindset Digital. We bring workforces up to speed in our fast-forward digital world. If you like the show, please recommend us to a friend, or even better, leave us a review on iTunes. It really helps. Have questions, comments, or ideas about the podcast you want to share with our team? Send them to podcast@mindsetdigital.com. This episode was produced by Pete Brown, Jessica James, and me, Briavelle Schultz, and featured myself, Danica Stahl, and Ashley Nelson. Audio mixing was done by Jeff Gellert at Allegro Media Design. Some music in today's show is courtesy of the website audionautics.com and is licensed under Creative Commons 3.0. Kevin Davison produced our interstitials. We'll be back in a few weeks with another episode. Until then, good times, everyone.
Oh, for sure.